Hello, this is Dr. Nancy O'Reilly, and I would like to welcome you to Smart Amazing Conversations with Dr. Nancy, a podcast that takes a look at stories of life and leadership for smart, amazing women and men like you.
The most important thing is showing up. Don't think that you have to bring anything. Bring yourself, show up, and remain steadfast and be a...
If you are in a position of leadership and a position of management, bring women along with you.
Supporting women is my passion and my purpose. And talking with other women and men who promote women's leadership is one of my favorite things to do.
I've yet to meet a woman who did not know what she really wanted. She was just either afraid to ask the questions or she was afraid of what the answers meant.
Their stories connect us and help us to understand that the possibilities are endless if we support each other and lift other women up.
Trust is created by persistent identity. I show up as myself time and time and time again, and trust is built. It's one conversation at a time.
Hello, I'm Dr. Nancy O'Reilly. I'm happy to welcome Barclay DeVeau back to Smart Amazing Conversations with Dr. Nancy. Barclay is a filmmaker who is dedicated to raising the visibility of women in front and behind the camera. As a director-producer who grew up acting in films, television, and Broadway shows, Barclay played Liza Minnelli's daughter in the Tony Award-winning musical The Rink, and she played Drew Barrymore's best friend on the big screen and appeared with Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino in the classic film Scarface, all by the age of 15. The renowned director, I'm going to probably destroy this name, Pakula.
That's right, Alan Pakula.
Alan Pakula, he directed Sophie's Choice and also All the President's Men fame, All the President's Men, and which was wonderful, recognized Barclay's passion for filmmaking beyond her acting. He encouraged her to study all aspects of directing, which she did. Graduating from Choate Rosemary Hall at USC School of Cinematic Arts. She has collaborated with major studios on numerous films, television shows, and theatrical productions, and earned several honors for her work, including 2 Emmy Awards, special recognition from the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, and a Sony Music Directors Award. She has been honored for her theatrical directing work on 12 Angry Men as performed by 12 impassioned women. Barclay's new venture is the Cassandra Project, a trilogy of short films about women whose voices are disregarded and dismissed in high-stakes situations, which is very dangerous for everyone. I'm very excited to hear more about this project, and I want to welcome Barclay back to Conversations with Smart, Amazing People like yourself. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Nancy, and thank you for that beautiful introduction. And thank you for being a part of it. I think it's important we share right off the bat in this conversation that you're a partner in this project now, and that means so much to me. I'm thrilled to have you on board and to have your support and partnership in this. And I think that your listeners and audience need to know how beautiful it is for me that you responded so quickly and emphatically about this project and understood immediately the importance of what we're trying to do with this trilogy and the impact it can have. So thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Just to give you a little bit of history from my end, one of my first projects was called Women Speak. And this really goes back before the foundation was ever created. And it really came from my own personal views and feelings of being invisible and not being listened to and being disregarded, especially in very, very important situations. So basically we're on the same path. We're just going at a different angle, but as we all know, people love films and visual aids are always important. And when we see something on the big screen, it seems to impact us more.
Yes.
So I am totally behind this. And I just want to talk a little bit about how you got started, because one of the things I think is so important, Barclay, is that they're going to look at you, when you read your vita, about who you are, what you've accomplished, everyone goes, everything must be so wonderfully easy for her. But that's not always true. It's the story that each of us has to tell to, especially other women,
Yes.
So important, because really there's always a connection when women begin to tell their stories, and they're not always about, butterflies and flowers,
right, and rainbows, and
rainbows, unicorns, and all the above.
It's not always like that.
No. I mean, so tell us about you, how you got to be you, and where you came from, and how you became you today.
Thank you. That's a big one. Yes, well, as you already said, I was very fortunate, actually, in that I grew up acting and had some incredible mentors along the way in my life from the time I was a child, starting with my own mother and grandmother, who encouraged me creatively and created a situation in which I could grow up acting. And then some beautiful mentors like Alan Pakula, and other big directors who really did recognize that I was very interested in every single thing going on behind the camera. And maybe I wanted to do what they were doing. So I will be forever grateful to them for encouraging me and starting to teach me when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, different camera lenses, and help them, make decisions about production design and things like that. They really made me feel a part of the whole thing when they recognized that I was interested in that. And then
let me just throw this in real quick.
Yeah.
This is a key piece right here. There are not enough women directors and producers in the film business, so that what you're doing is also breaking more of those barriers. And
yes,
making way for other women directors, producers in the film business. So there,
yes,
I said it.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that for a few minutes, because, that's a really huge issue that continues to be a really huge issue. When I was in film school at USC, I was in a class of 30, and 4 of us were women. So I do believe USC Film School has achieved gender parity at this point in their production program, but still 7% of female directors of feature films, 7% are women.
Yeah.
It's a major problem. And I think that we are sometimes misled these days by encouraging articles. And I love the encouraging articles, don't get me wrong, but if the Hollywood Reporter or Variety write an article about a successful female director, people think, oh, problem solved. That is absolutely not the case. No. The number is still 7%. And we need to do something about that, and I think we are doing something about that. Not only with this project, the Cassandra Project, are we telling the stories of 3 different women who haven't been heard, leading to dangerously high stakes, but we are working as a team with more than 90% women as our producers, and our creative team, our editor, our composer, more than 90% women. That is upside down in the real film world. So we're really trying to do that as well with this one. But thank you for saying that, because
absolutely.
That's something I deal with every day. And as grateful as I am for the opportunities I've had in my life, I have had to fight really hard to get into the rooms that I've been in. So it isn't easy, and the barriers still exist. And one thing that is encouraging, and that I love in my relationship with you, and particularly what we're doing together on this project, is that it does take women supporting women to change this situation. 100%, we need to support each other and lift each other up and encourage each other and collaborate on these types of projects, so that we change the reason you got into this, as you said.
Well,
right?
no, you just gave the mission statement for Women Connect for Good right there, is that if one woman supported one other woman and lifted her up, this would be a completely different world. And that's true of every profession and every venue, as far as careers are concerned, or whatever area that you choose to go into. If you find a woman who can support you and lift you up in that arena, and I'm sure that's what you've been doing for other women too, is lifting them up in the film business and production and directing business as well. So, I mean, it's so very important. But, I started out with telling you about a personal part, which is the personal thing that I felt myself, which was not being heard or probably feeling invisible. As I was growing older, I start to feel very, very invisible. Before, I kind of carried a big stick and kind of got my way because I kind of pushed and kind of prodded. And, I mean, like I said, I was not the quiet one in the room. And oftentimes, if you're not the quiet in the room, you're either in trouble or sometimes you get to be the leader. It's really interesting how that works.
Yeah.
But for me, it really was a personal journey that I wanted to know how other women felt. The Women Speak project was really about how other women felt about the things that I was feeling and the struggles that I was having. So for you, what was the triggers for you, other than, again, that 70%? But what was it for you that really chose this path and for you to choose this trilogy, the Cassandra Project?
Yeah, well, the incident that occurred in my life that really led to this specific project was a medical situation. Mm-hmm. So in late 2020, I started having various strange symptoms in different parts of my body. And within a few months, it became clear that something was very, very wrong medically. And I began to see doctors, many doctors, all kinds of doctors regularly. At some point, it became so bad that I was begging them nearly daily to help me. And I was dismissed, disregarded, disbelieved. I was sent by 3 of the doctors recommended me that I go to psych.
It's in your head because they can't find what's wrong.
Yeah.
It's got to be in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
That's common for women to be dismissed and go, oh, you're hysterical. Oh, it's that time of the month, isn't it? You're just overreacting.
It's so common. And I'll finish my story and then I'll share with you how many women I've heard from once I started speaking about this who've had similar situations with different medical ailments, but the same thing. Like, oh, the doctor recommended me recommended I see a psychiatrist. And it's like, there was something very physically wrong. So anyway, I spent months and months and months and months, nearly daily, begging doctors for help. And again, I was dismissed, disregarded, disbelieved, ignored, to the point where what I had got so bad that I had a seizure that I think saved my life because it put me in the ER. And I was in an induced coma for 9 days. They found that I had a swollen brain with bacterial meningitis and encephalitis. Mm-hmm. I had a heart infection. It was a rare bacterial infection. I had a temporary pacemaker for almost 2 months. I had, because it sparked an autoimmune disease called mast cell activation syndrome, which causes frequent anaphylaxis with elevated histamine and tryptase levels. It had invaded my connective tissue, which caused several injuries which require surgery to repair my muscles, joints. So 7 systems of my body were critically infected by this bacteria by the time any doctor in a professional setting heard me, listened to me, and believed me. Yeah. And I was nearly dead.
You had almost died.
And I really almost did. Yeah. And so now I'm happy to say I have an incredible team of wonderful doctors who have and continue to save my life. And, I'm on the right treatment and it's working. But the journey to get there was traumatic. And you were just talking about the women in the room who speak up and they either get in trouble or they're the leader. And I have had a situation throughout most of my life where I'm one of those women in the room who speaks up. And most of the time I'm the leader. I was unaccustomed to not being heard. Yeah. And this was probably the most important time I ever needed to be heard in my life. I was dying. I was actually dying and nobody was hearing me, or no professionals who could help me, I should say. My friends heard me, but no professionals who could help me were hearing me. And because of that, I very nearly died. And throughout the past year, as I've been on treatment and recovering from this, I felt a responsibility to turn it into something impactful that amplified women's voices and shed light on this situation, not just in medicine, but as you mentioned earlier, also in every arena, right?
Yeah.
Hence the trilogy, because I want to tell 3 different stories of 3 different women from very different backgrounds, different ages, and in completely different situations. But each of them will have the common thread of whatever the situation is, the stakes are dangerously high in which these women are disbelieved or not heard or disregarded and dismissed. And so that was the impetus for me creating this project.
Which one of those women will you be in the trilogy? We always put ourselves in everything. If we paint something, the person
right.
look like us. Whatever we do, we can't help but not put a part of ourselves in everything that we do. But
absolutely,
which one of those women will be you? Maybe we should wait and make, maybe we should just let people be surprised. I don't.
Well, I will give you a little teaser, and I can't give everything away about all the films, obviously, because we need people to, go see them when they're done. But I will say, my own story is being turned into a sci-fi horror film written by my creative partner, Francis Delatore, and my dear, dear friend, Nay Ibong. And they're working they both know me intimately and have been through this journey with me. And they are turning my story into a sci-fi horror. So, which is perfect because it is. That's exactly what it was.
We're in a sci-fi horror story. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I can't imagine, that the women, especially in this audience, as they see this film, will just walk out being very, very angry and very, very motivated. And because I think with each of these 3 people that the women in that audience will connect with and feel very, very similar to as far as their stories. So I think it's absolutely wonderful that you're doing this. Okay. So what is the next step for you? Because I think this is, we've talked about the Cassandra Project. It's 90% women, which is fantastic, which it should be.
Right.
But of course, the one thing, my last book was called In This Together. So having male sponsors and male allies is extremely important. And I want to always preface that because it's conversations with all men and women who really care about bringing us all together to change the world for good. So
yes, absolutely.
Your team are devoted, and do these women where do these other women come from as far as their value and even the men that you're working with too?
Yes. So, well, Francis is a man, and he has been my creative partner since USC Film School.
Yay.
So he's an incredible writer, director, and cinematographer himself. And so he's going to be the cinematographer for all of our films, but he's a co-writer on one of them, along with my dear friend, Nay, who is a studio executive. And a brilliant writer, and she's done it all. So together, they are the ones who are writing my project.
Okay.
So I have several women who are producers who I've worked with on various projects over the years, one of whom I also went to film school with, who's on board as a producer. And then I have female friends who have not produced films before, who wanted to get involved in this and who are lending their talent and time to this in the fundraising aspect and, just learning about all of the film. So I have so many women who are producers who are involved. Also, my composer, Yvette Jackson, is a woman who I went to high school with. She's a brilliant composer, and we have been trying to figure out what to collaborate on for years, and immediately knew that this was the project. Another dear friend, Jenna Vanoy, she grew up acting with me. We've known each other since we were 6 years old. Some people in your audience might recognize her. She was an actress on a show called Blossom. She played the best friend named Six on a series called Blossom in the 90s. So some of your viewers might know her.
Maybe.
But she's also a brilliant writer. And so she wrote one of the scripts we're doing. And my friend Laura, who is a doctor who was holding my hand throughout the entire journey of being sick, getting sicker, not getting a diagnosis, reassuring me that, you know, I wasn't crazy and that she was going to try to help me find someone to listen to me. She's a part of this project. My friend Brooke, who is a retired police officer, is a part of this project.
Wow.
And, and then I have
very great diverse population.
Yeah, and then 5 or 6 women, Mandy, Stephanie, Rebecca, Debbie, people, women who I have produced with along the years, who are just incredible, you know, film and television producers who are actually producing this project with us as well. My dear friend Kaylee, who is a multi-talented actress, writer, producer, social media guru, is an essential member of this team. So, like I said, it's just an incredible group of mostly women.
Not only a team, but a wonderful family.
A wonderful family, exactly. This is a family, and that is what it feels like.
Okay.
That is what it feels like.
This question is coming in and out of my mind. It's flowing in and out. What do you plan to do? I mean, first of all, you've got goals and objectives that you want this film to produce.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I should ask you that question first, but one of the things that I'm thinking about, because again, when Women Connect, Women Speak was formed, you know, I did not really have an overall plan other than I knew my personal journey and what I wanted to see happen.
Yeah.
But again, it blossomed and it grew and it became Women Connect for Good, which is podcasts, books, and speaking and going out and, you know, really, really targeting the things that are important, which is women's disabilities, women's voices, women connecting with other women and supporting other women. Mm-hmm. But for you and this film, and, you know, because there'll probably be not only backlash, but there'll also be many, many positive things that will come from it. That, you know, and I think you have to be prepared for both, because
sure.
You know, it's an opportunity, you know, for me, when opportunity knocks, it's time to do something about it. So for you, what do you hope to accomplish, and what do you hope will come from this film so that others can benefit from the hard work that you and your team are in this film that you're producing?
Great question. Yes. So we want to obviously get it out there and get it seen by as many people as possible so that it has the greatest impact. And you mentioned earlier that, you know, there might be women who watch this who feel angry, but also motivated. And I think that is ultimately my goal, along with this beautiful family that I have around me, Danny and Kaylee and Laura and Brooke and Debbie and Steph, like, you know, this group of us who have been putting this together really care that people leave this experience motivated, right? They may be also enraged, because it does. I think there will be not one woman in the theater or who streams this at home who doesn't connect with this in some way, because there are different situations and because there are different, you know, protagonists of different ages, from different backgrounds. But it's the motivating factor that is most important to me. Yes, what can we do with that rage? What can we do with that anger? Which is really what happened with me this past year, is what can I do with this trauma and this rage that I have about spending, you know, 6 of the last 12 months in a hospital bed because doctors didn't listen to me early enough to cut this off before it became critical, right? What can we do that's positive with this? How do we move it forward and make sure that we continue talking about this message? And for that reason, yes, we need these films in this project to be seen. So one outlet is festivals, and there are several film festivals that really feature women's voices. And so I think those are a great place to start. I think we can also send the project in to the Academy for potential nomination for a short film and for the Oscars. But I also want to do more with it. And so, some of our team members, specifically my dear friend Danny, who is a producer of this project, and my friend Debbie, are working on additional outlets where we can almost create some sort of tour where we can take these project out, the Cassandra Project out on tour and showcase it at conferences in different arenas for different professions, right? Like one of my very good friends who's an executive producer on this project, Saba, wants to show this at medical conferences so that it can have impact in that arena. I think the possibilities are great. And I'm only just beginning to learn what some of those are, because my world has always been film, and typically feature film, where, we have sold our film to distributors who have a marketing team and distribute the film. And on this one, it's a little bit different, because starting with the crowdfunding aspect, right? I've never done that before. And then ending with, what are the distribution outlets for this type of project? And I'm just learning, because I have this great team family around me, what some of those outlets are. And I'm excited to share it with all of them and just get it out into as many places as possible, so as many viewers, and you're right, men and women, because our male allies are incredibly important. They're a crucial element of amplifying women's voices and advancing this cause, to see this.
Yeah, we don't want to create any silos. We don't want to.
No.
We want to open as many doors as possible. Well, Barclay, what Women Connect for do is we connect for good. We connect. We're a connector. We're a collaborator. So again, you're already talking to someone as far as collaboration and connection. And of course, you talked about Lift Women Up. We have the Lift Women Up campaign. We are also connected with many organizations that are doing very much about women's voices and gender equity and equality. So women empowerment in all aspects, but again, women and men power working together.
Yes.
The power to, not the power of.
Yes.
So we're here, and that's one of the reasons why Women Connect for Good jumped in on this project, because again, it's down the path. We're down the path, the same journey. So, and I think that's where the value of everything comes from. Well, I went to the Santa Barbara Film Festival, and all the producers and directors were there. And one of the films that they were speaking about was Hidden Figures. And I know this has probably been one of the best films ever. But the point is, it took over 10 years to get to audiences, and it really then showed us that what we don't know about women, we wouldn't have a space program for what wasn't for these amazing Black, these women of color, and computers and all the above. So again, this is an opportunity to educate and to give people. This is what you want to, Lift Women Up is, if you support one other woman every single day, the world will be a different place.
Yeah, change the world.
Change the world. So and you talk about it being a movement, but everything is a movement. Yeah. And right now we need something like this more than ever.
We really do.
We need some good juju. We need some good things going on. I don't know about you, but since COVID's helped me to decide who I want to spend time with and who I don't want to spend time with more than anything. That's what
Yes.
And you know what? I also found out I really don't mind spending time with myself. So I think.
Your horses.
My horses. And of course, I did throw it out there that we just did our first independent film production here. So Southern California Equestrian Center might be a location for you.
Yes, it might be. I'm very excited to scout it with you next month. When I'm back in LA.
Come and see. But all right, well, let's get to the important stuff, which is you need funding. You need some assistance with this. And so
Sorry.
That's okay.
Quick disconnection. Hold on.
All right. We don't want to disconnect.
Nope, not at this exact moment. We don't want to disconnect.
Know what people can do. And as you've already said, Women Connect for Good is a funder for this independent film, and very excited about that connection. And we will also use this film as a way to continue the work that we're doing. So
wonderful.
That's the best news for all of it. It just continues.
So thrilled.
So how do they find out more about you and where they can send their money?
Yes. So we launched the fundraising campaign about 3 weeks ago, and you can find it at www.thecassandraproject.net. If you click on the Make a Pledge button, you will learn more about you will be taken straight to the fundraising page. You can learn more about the team. You can watch a video of me sharing my story and meet the team members and see some of our press. And we have various incentive levels you can choose to contribute at that give you some different fun things you can get at different levels of contribution. And I think it's important to say that, actually, Dr. Nancy, this podcast we're recording today is not releasing until October. So I was gonna, I'm gonna forget what I was just gonna say. Our campaign ends October 28th. So at the time you're watching this, we have about 2.5 weeks left in the campaign. And we really want to not just hit our goal, but exceed it, because we will have marketing costs on the back end. We will have costs associated with continuing to get the word out once we complete the shooting of these films. So every dollar, every penny is deeply appreciated. And www.thecassandraproject.net. And I believe you'll probably put on your site, Dr. Nancy, the social media handles and everything, right? Where people
we will do that, and of course the podcast will come out. But in the meantime, we can also help promote your project as well. So so say it very clearly. Where do they go and what do they do?
Yes, where you go is www.thecassandraproject.net, and that is spelled CASSANDRA, Cassandra Project, thecassandraproject.net. That is our website. It can take you straight to the fundraising page. If you click on the big purple pledge button, that will be very visible. You can go through all of our stuff, and what we need from you is any contribution you can afford. Please consider donating to this project so that we can amplify women's voices and help us spread the word. So again, at the time you're watching this, we have about 2.5 weeks left in this campaign. It ends October 28th. So please don't delay. Get the word out. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, give what you can, be a part of this. And I really mean that sincerely, be a part of this. Every person who has contributed, not just on the incredible level that you, Dr. Nancy, have contributed and are a partner on this project, but every person who has contributed anything is a part of this project and a part of the solution. And we need you. So please check it out and give what you can.
Because as you know, Barclay, we're all in this together.
We are in this together. And I know you mean it so sincerely, and it touches me so deeply.
It's so exciting when I come into when we develop another relationship for our collaboration and another way for Women Connect for Good to do what it's been doing all these years. So congratulations, continued success. And again, we urge everyone to join the Lift Women Up campaign, which are 52 weeks of things that women can do every single day or every single week to lift another woman up. And I'll guarantee you, if you lift another person up, you've lifted yourself as well. So
change the world.
Change the world. That's what it's about. We're all here for reasons, but we're all here to help one another. So Barclay, such a good time talking with you again. You have a wonderful day, and you too. So when you get back, you better come on out to the barn. I'll show you around Southern California.
I definitely will. Don't worry. I'll be there. I can't wait to see you next month.
Okay. See you later. Thanks. Have a great
day. Bye, Dr. Nancy. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. If you enjoy these smart, amazing conversations, please subscribe, rate, and review them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And read and enjoy more amazing stories in my books, In This Together, How Successful Women Support Each Other in Work and Life, and Leading Women, 20 Influential Women Share Their Secrets to Leadership, Business, and Life. Thank you for listening.